tune this. All right, and welcome. It's the new year. It's the 2023 January already. Hopefully, well, if you're here, you survived, and maybe you thrived in 2022. You're definitely survived because you're here. Maybe 2022 wasn't your best year for business. Maybe it was. Not a boasting thing, but my business actually grew by about 30% last year. So when you narrow the focus, narrowing my focus and just specializing in taxes, makes it a lot easier for people to refer or introduce you when it's pretty clear what you do. So that's just my one quick tip about business. Narrowing or just the front, I always say the front facing, the front facing piece of your business, make it super clear what you do and who you serve, and it makes it a lot easier to attract those people first. If you have other things to introduce to them after, then do that after they become a client. That's just whether you want it or not. You got a quick tip there for my own what's working for me. I'll just classify it. So that's what's working for me in the last couple of years. So, all right, today we're going to talk about. I usually do a presentation, but I think kind of based on generally, I don't know, Shelley, but kind of based on the people in the room, I'm kind of guessing people may already have a business, so I don't really have to, preach to you about the benefits of having a home base or some kind of self-employed business. If you are, and you want to just quick type in to say if you do have a self-employed business component of your income, you can just type in the chat and just say yes, or you can put the name of it if you want, because I know that I know Maureen does, I know Diane does, I know Andrea does. So yes, so Melissa, yes, that's great. So then I don't really have to go into talking to you like the basics about. So I do a different presentation about like why you should have, or not should. I have a note here. Where did it go? Should post it up. No, I think I threw it away. I have this daily calendar, and one of the first one of the year, second one of the year said, do not use, don't use the word should. Don't. So that's, I'm working on that on my vocabulary, is to remove the word should from my vocabulary. So you can have a business or not have a business, but if you don't have a business, there is definitely tax advantages to having a business. I think most of the people in the room here have a business, so let's just skip that part. So we'll get right into 5 steps. I know you can't see my note. I don't want to keep posting it up there because it's all blurred and you can't see it. At the end of today's talk, I'll unblur my camera. Just sometimes people find my background a little bit distracting, but there's some secret stuff in the background, and I will unblur my background as a gift to you, as a secret reward. It's the carrot. So if you hang in for today's session, I'll unblur my camera at the end, and you can see what's blurred in the background. Some people already know. It's not a big secret, actually. So let's go. 5 steps to get organized. How many people, let's just see, like, is that something people want? Maybe you're all organized experts. Is someone here like a super, like, I know Maureen's pretty organized, but Maureen, you can also share that. You can happy to share this with your clients, Maureen, if you find this valuable 5 steps that you can take it. It's not intellectual property. I just literally wrote them on a piece of paper this morning. I might make an ebook out of it later. Maybe I'll find someone to create an ebook for me. I keep thinking about creating ebooks, and I should just outsource it, I think. But so is anyone here an organizational expert, super organized? Because maybe you should be. Maureen, Diane, you're super organized?
I actually used to go into people's houses and help them organize and declutter and clean, and I actually love doing it. I just spent 6 weeks going through every single thing in my house.
You did do a good job. I saw your posts, and we did a pretty good job moving in because we just moved in November. So we did a good job kind of on the move out to declutter, and we did a pretty good job unpacking. I actually removed a lot of. It just kind of put some in the closet, but I removed all the clutter because I had someone here doing photos on Wednesday. So I had it really neat and tidy. And part of it is getting rid of the clutter, because you could have organized clutter, and that's not really decluttering. You get rid of the clutter first and then organize what's left over. But All right, either way, let's get
Oh,
into the
Dwayne,
five. Yep.
Dwayne, in December, I'm in an apartment and we had the pest control come in
Oh, yeah.
and I had to empty my complete kitchen. I mean, everything had to be out and the bathroom. And I didn't realize I had stuff from my parents' place. So my sister came and helped me because my ceilings are 9 feet high and I didn't want to be on a ladder. So she helped me and I sent her home with 4 bags of stuff. And now she has given it to her daughter-in-law who has just bought a house. So they don't have a lot of stuff. And when I was there at Christmas dinner, she thanked me for all the stuff because I had given her a carving knife so that they use for the
Oh,
turkey,
nice.
and I had a punch bowl, and she used that, and some trays. And so I says, "Oh, well, you're quite welcome." I says, "I'll look to see if I have anything else." And so I've got a starting a bag with for her and for one of my clients. I have a bag for them. So if something I don't want, I put in the bag and then they can decide.
And the nice thing is you pass that on. So when you do go to their house for Christmas, you can actually enjoy it. You can actually see someone using it and enjoying it, and you get to enjoy it again just at someone else's house. We're quite cautious or conscious of now that we have like double the space, and everyone's like, oh, you need this and this, and we borrowed some stuff, and we're like, no, we don't really need, like, we did bring in some extra stuff, but like a lot of stuff, like our kitchen's pretty well supplied already. So we're quite being conscious of, like, when you bring something, like, don't bring more stuff in just because you have more space. All right, let's get into the first one. So step number one is it doesn't really matter. There's like the first two or like the first one or two, there's not really exact order, so it doesn't really matter. And but let's get into it. Is step one is creating folders. So my suggestion is creating a folder. So you can create a folder in your email. So if you're using Outlook or whatever you're using for email or Gmail, whatever it is, create a separate folder and just label it tax receipts or taxes. So that when you get, so say if you make a donation and someone sends you a receipt and make a donation for more than $20 and you get that receipt, then just put that email into the folder. And then you could create a subfolder. So if you wanted, you could have you could have taxes, then you could create 2022 and 2023 and 2024. You can create subfolders, but create that main folder called taxes or tax receipts. And then same with, because now a lot of times different organizations are sending you receipts. So for example, if you're a tax client and I send you my QuickBooks receipt email, you get an email from me from QuickBooks with your tax your receipt for your tax return, then you could just put that email into the tax receipt folder. And then later, if you wanted, you could print it, or you don't even need to print it. You can just open it up and put in the tax, how much your tax return cost you, and put that in the accounting expenses for 2022. So create a folder in your email. Now you can also do that in 2 more places. So if you want to go and just add, that's if I say that's baby step 1. Next step is also create a folder in your documents on your computer, because maybe you don't want to keep everything in your email, or maybe you get other things. And so you could just create a folder in your documents. If you're using Microsoft product, it's under the, you click documents and you could create a folder under documents called tax receipts, or just taxes, just receipts or not, just call it taxes, and then create a subfolder for 2022, and might as well create a new one for 2023 if you haven't done this before. So the second one is putting a folder on your computer documents. And number 3, this is really advanced, not really advanced, could be in your photos. Someone I know, they might be attending today, because I always tell clients at the beginning of the year, take a photo of your odometer. Now, if you're not a client and you haven't seen my emails yet, you can still take this away from today's session. If you got nothing out of today, just do this: is you take your camera on your phone and you're sitting in your car, and when you turn your car on, go down next time you go driving, take a photo of the odometer. Why we do that is because then it tells us snapshot January 1st. I did it. I had 192,000 kilometers on my car, and I go back to the photo I took on January 1st of 2022, and it said I had 176,000. I don't know the exact numbers. That's why I have the photo. So I don't have to memorize these things. And then I do the quick math. And it's like 192 less 176. And I'm like, by golly, I still drove, somehow I still drove 15,000 kilometers last year. It's kind of shocking, in a way, because I didn't really drive that much week to week, but when we kind of do drive, we tend to drive a little bit more than the average person maybe. So there's kind of step one is creating folders, and there's really three parts to step one. The first one is create a folder in your email. Step two is in your documents, and step three in your photo. Now you could download that photo and put it in one of the other two folders, or depends, like if you have receipts and you start taking photos of receipts, because you don't actually need the original copy, you can have a digital copy. You could just create a tax receipt folder in your photos directory.
Oh.
All right. And I guess actually number 4, if you want one last one, is you could actually use, and under the notes section, this is a bonus. This is like advanced, kind of PhD, kind of high school, I don't know, university level stuff. Doesn't have to be. You're just here, so it could be just advanced. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but I personally use an iPhone. So if I go to my iPhone and I go somewhere here, I know not that I'm getting that old, but I actually had to go to the optometrist and I'm getting 2 pairs of glasses. I have to get reading glasses for up close stuff. But I could go to notes, and then I could open up a new note, and then you click on and then the camera, and then the camera option gives you save as a PDF. So I could actually save receipts as PDFs from my phone. I don't need a scanner. And then I could create a folder inside of notes for tax receipts as well. Or you could actually just forward the email. You could take a photo with your phone and then forward that email to yourself and then put it in your email. I might do a whole nother thing on documentation. So not to go too in depth today, but I think I might do that. Just like a whole more into detail, then we can actually get people set up doing some of the stuff. Like you just go and do it right now, so that you're not here next year. It's like, oh, that guy told me about setting up a folder, but I didn't know how. I didn't do it, and I just like do it. That it's like a work day that you come and I'll tell you what to do. Sometimes I'll share that for later. Let me just make a note. That's about sometimes we need a boss. I don't, not to be bossy, but sometimes we need a boss and we just need someone to tell us what to do. And I have a colleague where we talked about this, where we just need see if people is kind of around accountability, but sometimes you just need someone to tell you what to do and just go do this today, right now. Go set up a folder, do this, this, and this, and get it done, and then check it off your list, and then you're done. Okay, so step 1 was set up folders. Step 2, and step 1 or 2 can be done either way. Step 2 is an inventory list. I know it sounds very fancy, very accounting-like, but an inventory list is literally, it's just an inventory of what do you got? Great English, I know, from numbers. But what bank accounts do you have? So maybe you have a bank account and you have a tax-free savings account. Now, tax-free savings accounts don't have anything to do with taxes because there's no tax benefit. But maybe you have an RRSP and you're making contributions to an RRSP and it's at a bank. Well, make a note of what bank it's at and what the account number is, because then a lot of banks don't send you stuff in the mail anymore. Surprise, surprise. They stop mailing you stuff. And it's like, all of a sudden it's like online. Yeah, you got to go get the documents yourself online. But if you don't know where your stuff is, it makes it really hard to go find it. So document where your stuff is. And you can have multiple RRSPs, because sometimes you are maybe in a job and you got some money in a pension in one bank and you got, or Sun Life or Great West or with a mutual fund company, and then you got something else at a bank, and you get something else somewhere else. So documenting, what do you have? Where is it? And you can do this pretty easily again, just open up creating a spreadsheet or a Word document and just putting it, and then you could actually, again, you could create hyperlinks, getting kind of technical on you, but you could actually put a hyperlink to like RBC. And if I go to RBC and I put the link, so then when I open up that document, I can just click on the link in the document and it sends me to RBC where my investments are. So it's, again, so we're looking at possibly like sources of T4s. So if you had one or more jobs last year, or if you did, maybe you were a consultant, like a subcontractor, and the employers are issuing you a T4A, which is like for self-employment. So who was that? If you have investments, you're maybe getting a T3 or a T5. T3s are for interest, T5s are for capital gains. Maybe you did like option trading, or some kind of investing, in which case you'll get a T5007. So it's, again, just knowing kind of what banks you're banking with. Investments, employer, and just other things. Like we can go a little bit deeper, but it's more in like step 5. But really the first one is just an inventory list of sources of income is a great way to start in step 2. Does that make sense? Everyone's still with me? Haven't lost anybody yet? Pretty straightforward, I think. Step 3 is just watching the notes, so no one's yelling at me in the notes, so that's good. And if you have questions, not to yell, but if you have questions, you can always just type it in the comment section, and then we can answer them at the end. All right, step 3 is what changed? What changed in 2022? So me personally, I just mentioned we moved. So we sold our condo in August of this year, and we purchased our new home, and we moved in November. The reason that's important is the sale of the condo is, even though it's principal residence, I'm now going to have to do a principal residence calculation on my tax return. So maybe that was you, maybe not, but that's why we want to make a note of what changed or what's new. So maybe you moved. Maybe you had a baby. I don't know anyone in the room here, but maybe
retired.
You retired, exactly. So congratulations. So maybe you had a baby. Maybe your marital status changed. So maybe you got married, or you separated, or you got divorced, finalized your divorce last year. Just make a note. Again, you can just do this on paper. Paper is a great way to start. You can just grab a sheet of paper and start making notes. And then something that, again, you could open up a document. So as we're going into 2023, then do it as you go to say, oh, geez, I did this, and I remember something about what keeping track of what changed, and it just kind of make a note each time it happens. And maybe something else, and so also make sure, like, if you did move, like I just went in today and I updated my address on CRA, so you can log into your My Account and you can actually change your address with Revenue Canada. So actually I did that today, just on a personal note. So I just, sometimes I do take my own advice. I get better at taking my own advice too. So really, so step 3, again, because it's good to update your tax. If you're doing your own taxes or someone's doing your taxes for you, it's nice to have this up, because they're going to ask you, say, hey, what's new or what changed? And if you're like, I don't know, that's what they put. They just say no changes, and then all of a sudden you miss out on potential tax credits or tax deductions, because maybe there was something that couldn't be tax deductible because something did change. Okay, number 3 was what changed. Number 4 is deductions and credits. And what I mean by that is it's a great time because the year is done. Like a lot of things cut off on the calendar year, January to December. So example being medical expenses. So if you had any medical expenses in 2022, could be glasses, going to the dentist, or orthodontics, orthopedics, all those ortho stuff, optometrists. I actually just went to the optometrist at the beginning of December. I actually just ordered new glasses right kind of at the end of the year. Now they're going to be claimed through benefits, so that doesn't really matter, but my some stuff isn't necessarily covered by benefits. So medical, and one of my clients is you can always go back to your, if you're on like regular drugs, you can go back to your pharmacist and they'll actually run a summary statement for you for the year. If you always go to the same pharmacist, they'll actually, and same with the dentist. The dentist, a lot of the practitioners can run an annual statement for you. So if they haven't, or they don't do that on a regular basis, you can go back and ask them for that. And now is a great time to do that. So don't wait till March when you're trying to get your taxes done. Like, get all this stuff done in January. It'll make your accountant so much happier knowing that you got it done already. So medical, donations. So again, you've made all of your donations for the year. So again, you can start to tally those up, or at least start to put those in those, because we did step one. You can go back now into your email, or if you have paper copies coming in, start keeping track, going back to summarize your donations, whether it be political donations, charitable donations, nonprofit donations, because again, it's totally not up for the year. Well, it can have an impact on your credit, on your taxes. The other one would be like tuition. So if you have like myself, I have eligible dependents. So my son is in Star University, so he's going to be getting tuition, a tuition receipt that he could use, or the parents can use. So it's any of those other things. So even if you're not self-employed, if you're listening to this recording, and even if you're not self-employed, there's things like your digital subscriptions. My partner subscribes to the Globe and Mail, and that's a tax deduction. So there's some different things along the way. Employment expenses as well. So the whole working from home tax credits. So if you are in a day job, which is great, keeping track of those different expenses, then you can start tallying all those up now, because the year's over. So number 4 was deductions and credits. Otherwise, if you're for seniors, if you've made renovations to your home for accessibility, again, finding those, hopefully you had them already, but finding those receipts for any renovations that you may have done to your home, even in things like adding support bars. So say in the washroom, if you put like a hand railing to help get up and move around in the bathroom, some of those are tax deductible. There are tax credits for seniors to help them, assist them in staying in their homes, but you need to keep track of those receipts, and then let your accountant know that you did that, because they don't know, and maybe if they're not me, they may not ask you. So it's good to know. Other things as well, if you have rental properties, so it's part of it is deductions and credits and income, but different than self-employment. But if you have a rental property, tallying up getting your receipts all in order for rental properties. And if you do have a rental property, then just comment in the comments rental property. I have a spreadsheet that I can share with you to help keep track of rental income expenses a lot easier. Lines up really well for your tax returns. So number 4 was deductions and credits. And then number 5, we're just about there. We're doing well for time today. So number 5 is total income. So one thing you want to do is, if you have multiple sources of income, what you want to do is tally it up, because it's great that you have multiple sources of income. The challenge is the different sources of income, they didn't necessarily know about each other. And what may have happened is you've been paying taxes or not paying taxes, and then all of a sudden the multiple sources of income add up, and now you're in a different tax bracket. The first tax bracket goes from zero to about 48,000, and then from 48 to 95. So if one of those extra sources of income pushes you into a different tax bracket, we might have a tax liability, which means you might owe money to Revenue Canada. And so it'd be great, really now is a good time. Here, can do, we could talk about bookkeeping in a minute. So let me just get through this. So what you want to first do is figure out your total income. And then, as well as if you're self-employed, because again, if you're self-employed, a lot of people in the room wave their hands saying they're self-employed. It's a great time now to actually add up your billings, because your billings are done, January to December, done. So you can add up. I just did this the other day. I used QuickBooks. It was pretty easy because all my billing was in QuickBooks. So I tallied it up. I actually did my HST quick calculation already to kind of see where I'm at. So it's good to tally it up, because you kind of want to start doing some tax planning. And no one wants to be surprised on April and say, oh, geez, wow, I made a lot of money last year. And it's after the March 1st deadline. The reason we want about March 1st is March 1st is if you're under the age of 71, you can still make an RSP RSP contribution up to March 1st. So if we know in January what our total income was, we can start to look at which tax bracket you're in, and we can do some tax planning in January and February and not leave it till March 10th or March 12th on my birthday. It's too late because RSP season ends. Whether you believe in RSPs or not, it is one mechanism to be used to kind of balance the tax brackets current year and in the future. So you can't really do that very well unless you know what your total income was. Not naming names, but some of my clients didn't know until April last year what their total income was. So let's see if we can do that a little bit better this year. So we know by the end of January what kind of total income we're looking at to then be able to do some tax planning. Nice to know. And on that note is that in case you didn't know, the tax deadline for this year is not April 30th because it's a weekend. So the tax deadline, and I ordered some calendars, and then I put one of my sons, he was here a couple weeks ago, I put him to work, so I gave him a Sharpie, and I got him to start marking on the calendar. So before I send them out, I got them to mark on their tax deadline day. So Monday, May 1st is the tax filing deadline day. I know some people, oh, but I have till June 15th because I'm self-employed. I might know, but you have to figure out if you owe money, and you have to figure out if you owe money because your money's due on May 1st. You could file your taxes later, but the money's due. And then I had him also put on the calendar. So this year, March 1st is the Wednesday. So RSP deadline's March 1st. And then look at this, Diane and Andrea, you'll be happy to see, because look at that. There's an early bird deadline, and that's in the month of March. So because if you make me work overtime in April, it might cost you more. So I'm actually telling my clients the early bird deadline is March 31st. Should actually make it my birthday. You can give me a birthday present on March, but March 12th is a little bit early because we don't necessarily have all of the tax receipts in. But by March 31st, you should have all of your stuff together in order. So on my calendar, there's this early bird deadline. Now, if you would like one of these lovely calendars, look at this, they're so lovely. Once I figure out how it works. I know how it works. It's just kind of good. It's here. Okay. So now, since you're hanging in here, you made it here till 20 to 1. So let me just give me a second here. I'm just going to go here, stop the blurring the camera. There. So now when I hold up stuff, you can see it. It's very lovely. It's this lovely calendar. It says 2023. And then at the bottom, it's actually got my name and my email address and my phone number. And then I have one here hanging on the wall. And then someone reminded me that this is last year's. This year's over. So get rid of that. So I'm going to take last year's down because I get these from Perfect Pen, and they actually sent this last year as a sample, and I kept the sample for myself. But the thing about samples,
Dwayne, can I make a point?
Yep.
On not everybody, some people have to wait till at least the beginning of April, because sometimes the T3s aren't always out. And if it's snail mail, they don't get their slips until sometime in April. I just
That's
wanted to point that
true.
out.
That's a good point. And that's why I asked people to create that inventory list. So then they know who would be sending them, because again, as a tax provider, we can go in and download some receipts and not have to wait for the snail mail. But still, we want to make sure that we don't do taxes too soon, because even sometimes it's not just up the snail mail that's slow, it's them uploading those receipts to the CRA site. So great point, Maureen. Thank you for that. Always good to and that's why I added that point too about having that inventory list, because if we know what to expect, then we can also know when all of our receipts have come in. So look at that. I got January. They got the new calendar up on the wall now. Check that off my list of things done today. So what I actually did was I ordered those calendars in December, so it's a 2022 expense, even though I'm going to give out the calendars in 2023. So I have that to do. Might do that this weekend. I have 50 of those calendars to send out to people. So let me know if you like one of those. You might get one anyway, because I have your address already. If you give me your updated address. Can you give me your updated address, Diane?
Yeah, I think you have it because it's the same one as last year. I moved here in December 2022.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. Wow, it's been a year already.
Yeah, and I actually decided to live here longer, so I've actually fixed it up and it's home.
Oh, beautiful. Nice. That is wonderful. Like when things are working out.
I think after moving 38 times, it's really comfortable to find a place I can call home.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right,
That's why I'm a professional organizer. I move a lot.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording. So just go quick. So don't leave yet. I'm just going to wrap up the recording, because sometimes we go longer and then there's like a whole bunch of jibber jabber at the end, and people don't really need to hear that other stuff at the end. So if you did watch the recording today, hopefully you liked the content. If you would like to, in the comments, you might find I'll put my Calendly link. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one call, maybe things are a bit personal, or you weren't able to attend today, then you can always click on the link, book a quick call, and we can have a personal chat as well. So thanks for watching. And if you like it, you can always share it. You can give the thumbs up. Don't have to go yet. We're still here for a minute, but if you're watching the recording, thanks.